We're back then with another guide video for Last Epoch. The majority of previous guide videos we've done so far on the channel have actually been beginners guides for new players. This one is more for players that have started to venture into the endgame modes. What we're going to do is we're going to look at 10 of some of the hardest uniques to actually farm in the game, but also the best uniques to farm in the game. So this will be the 10 best chase uniques you want to go after in Last Epoch. Now, if the video is helpful, please do take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button. And let's dive in and let's have a look at these. Now, before we have a look at the first unique here, I'll just mention very quickly I actually have a unique farming video available on the channel, so I'll put a link to that in the description below. It gives you a ton of tips on how to target farm specific uniques, so it really will be relevant to this particular video. First one we look at has to be the awesome Herald of the Scurry. It's one of the most fun and most powerful uniques in the game. This is a level 76 unique. You would use it on the Beastmaster Mastery. It can also drop from the Black Sun if you're looking to target farm it, because that would drop your unique helmets that particular timeline. So what does this actually offer? So firstly, what you've got through the implicit in the modifier, you can get up to 42% increased health, which is really nice there. You can get up to 3 additional levels for Summon Wolf, but what makes this so good and so fun is that it converts your wolves into squirrels. So I believe it's around about 11 squirrels you can actually get with this, because you can see it states here you can summon squirrels up to twice your companion limit. With this here as well, there's various different setups you can run with it. You can have the squirrels being for a blade based build, or you can have them on a crit based build. So there's a nice amount of variety there, and yeah, it's just one of the most fun uniques available in the game. The next unique that we look at here is the Twisted Dart. This is amazing for survivability, this particular one. It gives you a ton of health and a ton of ward as well. Now, it's a level 80 unique. You farm this from the Reign of Dragons timeline, and specifically the boss at the end of this timeline. That's the Emperor of Corpses, which is a huge zombie dragon. So if we look at this particular item, you've got up to 20% increased health. You've got +1 to the level of necrotic and elemental skills. You've got increased cast speed. And then what makes this really great is the 2 modifiers at the top. It's between 10 to 13% of current health converted to ward when you directly cast a necrotic or an elemental spell. Now, I'll just mention the fact that because that is current health, to make the most out of this and to get a lot of ward from it, firstly you want an attack that's hitting often, but you also want to have some kind of leech built into your kit, because this is your current health that's converted, not your total health pool. So if you're using this, your health of course is going to go down as your ward goes up, but if you can keep your health up at a decent amount via leech as well, then you'll be creating even more wards. So yeah, an amazing unique, and one that I see a lot of end game builds using for survivability. For this next unique here, we'll mix things up a little bit. Rather than looking at a gear piece, we'll actually look at an idol instead. So this would be farmed in the Stolen Lands timeline. Similar to the last unique we looked at, it actually drops from the boss of that timeline. The boss of the Stolen Lands timeline would be God Hunter Argentus. This can be equipped at level 1. What makes this amazing is the unique modifier it's got. So you gain a stack of something known as Ambition when you hit a boss or a rare enemy, and there's a 1-second cooldown on that. It maxes out at 20 stacks, so that would be 20 seconds of attacking a boss to get the max amount of stacks of Ambition. What do they actually offer? So for each stack of this you would get 2% more fire damage, cold damage and also armor, so that means it will max out an additional 40%. The reason I emphasised the word more just a moment ago is the way that multipliers work in this game is you'll see a lot of items that say they do something and it's an increased amount, and that means it's additive. If you ever see the word more, that actually means it's a multiplier, which makes it exceptionally strong. So if you're looking to run a build that takes advantage of fire damage, cold damage or armor, then this is a no-brainer. The next item we have here is a ring. This is the Red Ring of Atlaria. This is a level 80 item. You would farm it from the Age of Winter, and this offers a ton of survivability. The highlights on this would be the up to plus 20% to all resistances. With there being 7 different resistance types in the game, that means you're essentially getting the equivalent of 140% resistance bonus from one item, spread out across all your different resistances of course, but that's really pretty amazing. You do have up to 20% increased health regen, mana regen and dodge rating, which can be nice. What really takes this to another level is a bottom modifier. So with this, it's 10% less damage taken if you have at least 180 total attributes. It will take a little bit of work to get to that 180 threshold, but 10% less damage taken overall is absolutely huge. We'll stick with rings here then for this next item. I have no idea how you actually set it, so I'm not going to attempt it. It is equipable at level 74. You would farm it from the Age of Winter. This is especially nice on freeze and shock based builds. So you can see the first 3 lines of the modifier. This is tied in with chill and freeze. So firstly, you've got your chance to chill and hit. You've got increased chill duration, and then finally you've got freeze rate per stack of chill. So chill, of course, you can have up to 3 stacks, so that means you could get up to 600% freeze rate from one item here, which is really pretty amazing. And bear in mind as well, with 3 stacks of chill you'll get 36% reduced enemy movement and attack speed. So that's for your chill and your freeze builds. If you're running a shock build, then what you've got is your chance to shock on hit goes up to 40%, you've got up to 20% increased shock duration, and then it's got that more multiplier again, and bear in mind that's so much nicer than increased, which is additive. So it's 1% more damage per stack of shock, and shock goes up to a maximum of 10 stacks. 10% more damage is a nice amount to get from one item. So this next unique here we have is probably a controversial one, so feel free to comment below and help drive engagement on the video if you disagree with this being here. So it's the Bastion of Honour. You can be equipped at level 50 and you would farm it from the Black Sun timeline. This used to probably be the best in slot shield for all classes. The way they've changed it, it can still be very nice, but it's only specifically on classes that will actually stack strength. But if you're stacking strength, this can be pretty great. So with this, you've got your 14% block chance, you've got block effectiveness, you've got up to 10 strength, and the way this works is you have 1% block chance per strength against enemies within 4 meters. You'll see a circle around your character so you know which attacks you'll be able to actually block. Now with this, if we add in the strength that's baked in as an implicit, that means you get 24% block chance. If you're running a particular build that's heavily stacking strength, if you had a minimum of 76 strength, then that means you're actually getting 100% block chance against enemies within 4 meters. What you previously used to get in this, it was really nice, but it was clearly a bit too OP. You used to get 25% block chance, double the block effectiveness, used to go all the way up to 800, and then you can see the red writing just near the bottom there. You used to get, as standard, 100% block chance against enemies within 4 meters. There was no need to stack any kind of stat. So yes, it was fun, but it was clearly quite broken. But now the way it works out, I would say for strength based characters it can still be a really nice shield. However, I'll just mention very quickly, don't overlook the Weaver's Will shield, the Cradle of the Raised. If you can get a nice roll on that, that can be really amazing as well. For the next unique here we have a belt. This is Jungle Queen's Chaps of Hold, and this can be equipped at level 14, farmable from the Fall of the Empire. The fact it can be equipped at level 14, don't let that fool you into thinking you'll get this dropping easily. I've only seen one of them in literally hundreds of hours of playtime since multiplayer was added to the game. So with this, what makes it so nice, if you look at the implicit and the modifier together, when you equip this you'll have 16 potion slots, which is absolutely huge. You're getting physical damage, you're getting minion physical damage, you're getting dexterity, but what's really nice on this alongside the potions is all the dodge you get if you're running a dodge based character. First you've got dexterity. For each point in dexterity, that's an additional 4% increased dodge rating. On top of that, through the modifier, you've got up to 50% increased dodge rating for 4 seconds when you use a potion. And then also we've got this more modifier again, which bear in mind is a multiplier rather than being additive. So you get 10% more dodge rating for 4 seconds when you use a potion, and it can stack multiple times. So if you click your potions multiple times in a row, you can get your dodge rating going absolutely through the roof. So absolutely awesome item, but just don't go expecting getting too many of these to drop. The next unique we have here is great for your minion based builds. This is equipable at level 75. It's Julras Obsession. You'll get this dropping in the Temporal Sanctum dungeon from the endgame boss there, which is Chronomancer Julra. This can only drop at tiers 3 and 4, and when you go up to tier 4 that's got the highest drop rate on it. It's around about 18% or so. Now this will always drop with at least one legendary potential, meaning you can combine it with an exalted item. If we quickly run over the stats on this, it's got 80 armour, up to 45% void resistance, 40% cold resistance, and up to 40% lightning resistance, and then 10 flat spell damage. What makes this really nice for the minions is this bottom modifier. Stats in this item also apply to your minions as well, so your minions will got all the bonuses we've just covered. However, because this always drops with one legendary potential, it means you can add the likes of armor shred, crit chance, or attack speed to this. Most people will look to add armor shred to this, so it means your minions will be shredding armor, and that can mean you'll do a whole lot more damage. So awesome item, this one. This next item here, I'm choosing this because we've not really had anything yet that's relevant to dot based builds. This will specifically be really nice on bleed and poison builds. It's called Salt the Wind, and it's a level 62 level requirement on it. You would farm it from the Ending Storm timeline. With this, if we quickly run through the implicits, you've got additional armour, and then you've got up to 15% increased bleed and poison duration. For your modifiers, you've got critical strike multiplier, which seems really odd because dot builds can't actually crit, or dots can't crit I should actually say. So this seems odd here. However, as we go further down the modifiers, you'll see why this makes sense on this. You also have modifier wise up to 40% increased damage over time, which is a huge amount there, and it can really help you build up your stacks because it's taking longer for them to drop off. You've got 45% physical and poison resistance, and then this is where the critical strike multiplier comes into play. So you have up to 50% of added critical strike multiplier converted to physical penetration with bleed, and also up to 50% of added critical strike multiplier converted to poison penetration with poison. So this can really up the damage numbers on your bleed and your poison. So really nice item, this one. For the final unique here, we have one that I've never actually had drop myself, although admittedly I've never actually target farmed this particular item or the boss that drops it. It's the Wings of Argentus. It's equipable at level 82. You would get this from the Stolen Lands timeline, and it's the end boss at this timeline, God Hunter Argentus, that would actually drop this. This is incredible on your movement based builds that make use of fire or cold melee attacks. So if we run through this, implicits you get up to 220 armor, which is really a decent amount. You then have up to a whopping 160% increased melee fire damage or melee cold damage. It's quite a wide range in this. It can go all the way down to 40, so it really is dependent on the roll ranges you get in this, whether or not it will be a god tier item. Also with this, you have 20% chance to gain haste for 1 second on hit. Haste of course gives you 30% increased movement speed, which is a huge amount. You then have a whopping 20% less damage taken while you're moving, which is just crazy. And then on top of that as well, you've got +2 to the level of fire and cold melee skills. So an absolutely amazing item to finish off on there. So that is 10 awesome uniques you want to get farming in Last Epoch. If you're a new player to the game, bear in mind I've got a video where I talk about 10 great uniques for new players. I'll put a link to that particular video in the description below as well, and there's actually a ton of other guide content on the channel as well if you have found this video helpful. If you have found it helpful as well, please do take time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and thanks for tuning in for this one. Stay safe and I'll see you all again soon.